This is Shiting welcoming you to Backstage, the life behind the music. This is an online series of conversations with pianists, an exploration of their remarkable artistic lives as performers, teachers, and advocates for music. Through talking, I hope to shed some light on their process, to get a glimpse into some of their music making, the real work that takes place before they or their students step out onto the stage.
Hi, Song. It's so great to see you again. And I'm so happy that we have the time to do our interview today. And then you are such a successful and you have a quite interesting and multifaceted career as a pianist, a recording artist, a music reviewer, and professor. And on top of all that, you also are a director and founder of the Atlantic Music. So, my first question is, how do you do it all?
Well, Shiting, thank you so much for taking the time, and of course, I got to know you through the summer this past year, and it was great knowing you. You were a wonderful contributor to the festival this year at AMF. Well, thank you for the question. I think, a lot of people do a lot of different things. I'm just lucky to be able to do the things that I enjoy doing when the opportunity presents itself to record or to perform or whatever. You do it if you want to do it. I'm in a position to do that, and I enjoy doing the things that I do, which is I feel very blessed to do that. And a lot of the opportunity kind of presented itself, and or I sought out opportunities, and so things kind of work that way. And I'm sure a lot of musicians feel that way as well. And so in a way, a lot of these opportunities just came, and sometimes it just happened by luck, or some with some good fortune. But I'm just happy that I got to do and to experience a lot of these things, and to meet great people, have
Mm-hmm.
a wonderful support system around me,
Yeah.
that helped me throughout the years.
Yeah. I guess follow your whatever interests you is very important. Like, for example, I know you're a good writer. You probably started being a music reviewer from your interest in writing, right?
Well, I think it started with reading a lot of articles. As musicians, I'm always interested in hearing the latest recordings or the
Mm-hmm.
artists. And with the with so many people doing things on YouTube, you're curious, and everything is just there for us to explore. You you do it. So many recordings, old recording archives are there, and you kind of not just watch and listen, but you want to have a platform to write about, your feelings and your thoughts, and that's how I got started with the writing part. And yeah, I do enjoy writing. I think it's important to find out what you'd like to write about. I don't like to write about everything. Just if I feel that I'm passionate about a certain artist or a certain recording or anything like that, yes, absolutely, I'd love to write about that.
Yeah. Speaking of recordings, what's your favorite recording right now? I mean, I'm sure you have a lot, but right at this moment, what is it?
Wow, that is a loaded question, isn't it? Um, the one that I've been listening to a lot of Beethoven lately. I've been teaching a lot of Beethoven, and so I always have a go-to recording for Beethoven sonatas. I've been listening to some of Jonathan Biss's Beethoven
Yeah.
lately.
Yeah.
I always like to listen to Richard Good's
Yeah.
complete set. Um, yeah, I list I follow a couple of people on my favorite artists on Instagram, and
Uh-huh.
I love listening to Dong-Hek Lim is a well-known Korean pianist.
Yeah.
I follow him. I think he's an interesting guy. So I listen to a lot of his recordings. But a lot of different things. Yeah, yeah. It's a good question, but there's too many to count for sure.
Yeah. Do you find yourself more open to new artists because you are a music reviewer and then you have to listen to some new recordings? Like I know a lot of people they exclusively only are interested in old recordings, like the Golden Age masters. But I was just wondering what your preference are.
I tend to enjoy newer things. I like hearing the new recordings, to be honest. Old recordings, back in the CD days, you have those CDs, and you listen to the same thing over and over unless you buy new CDs or recordings. But nowadays, we're spoiled that every single day, even new recordings come out, and you have immediate access to all of them.
Yeah.
And so um, I like to listen to new things. Not only new things, but a lot of the trend now is to record maybe some obscure things or obscure recordings or composers. And also there's so many artists that we don't hear much about that are producing incredible recordings, and it's fun to discover them. We all know how Horowitz plays now, and Rubinstein, and I'm definitely love those recordings, but I like to listen to what people are doing now. For
Yeah.
sure.
That's
Yeah.
great. You yourself, you're a recording artist with Naxos. So can you tell me a little bit about like the recording with a label like that? So do they pick out pieces and program for you, or do you work with them and see what they need to fill the catalog with?
So my relationship with Naxos came about when I was kind of interested in doing a recording of composer Hummel, and I always enjoyed Hummel, and I I I thought why not have something like that, and I presented that to Naxos a long time ago, and it seemed like a lot of the stuff were already recorded or were projected to be recorded. And so they basically presented me with things that needed to be recorded. So there was a list
I
of
see.
composers, really well-known composers. I know, of course, Naxos has a huge catalog already, but there are many things that still are yet to be recorded. And I was surprised to see my options. They presented me with options, and the project that stood out to me initially was the Mozart one.
Yeah, that's
And
interesting.
I if such, and they were glad to have me do that. It's Mozart's a little bit lesser known works and his fragmentary works, and I was able to not only get permission to do the recording, but also to write about my findings and just write the liner notes, and just have complete control over the whole process. And so that went, and I did that, and I thought that was great. I enjoyed it. And when that was done, I think back in 2016 or 17, there were other projects that they offered, and the next one in line is a set of Scarlatti, Domenico Scarlatti recordings that I'm in the process of recording now. So it's been fun, but it's with Naxos. They do present what they like to record. Uh, and so if you have a project that you're passionate about, or you want to record a set of pieces or composers, then probably there are other labels that you can work with. Yeah, so it's largely up to you, but it's been a fun process with them, with Naxos.
Then do you find a recording venue of your choice, or do they provide one for you?
So I am based in New Jersey. So they do have a list of recording venues that they recommend.
I
Uh,
see.
and so I've been recording in the Bronx, a well-known with a well-known recording studio there. It's worked out really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do provide suggestions, and they're all very good.
Do you like the process of recording for a CD? Because I've never done it, but I've heard people. There are people who just sit through and then play the whole thing, and then they're done. And then there are people who are nitpicky, and then they have to do multiple takes, and then at the end they're exhausted. So what kind of recording artist are you?
So I think initially I honestly recording wasn't an enjoyable process because it's very nerve-wracking, and you have engineer there, and you don't feel like you have full control, and and once you've played everything, some of it is not going to go well, and so then you're going to have to do another take later, or try to edit some stuff in and out, do the magic of editing.
Yeah.
But but once you start doing it, you figure out what the best way that would work for you might be. And I I think, and also having spoken to recording artists that have done this much more than I have, you start to figure out what the best way to do this is. And so you kind of find your own way. With something like Scarlatti, they're fairly short pieces. And so for that, I've been kind of recording them, let's say one of them, maybe run it a few times, and just, because you want to have some kind of efficiency to them as well, and try to get them done quickly, that you just do 2 or 3 takes and then move on, and so on and so on, and then listen to them all, and if there needs to be a retake, then maybe you find time to do that. But I guess everybody needs to find their own preferences, but that's worked out okay. I think if you are going to record a lot, you really enjoy recording, find kind of the efficient way to do it. And the recording engineer's time is also limited, and you have to figure out the best way to make all that work. It's a team effort. So.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned this past summer that you're working on a Gottschalk project. Can you tell me a little more about it? What's the project about?
Well, so I personally don't know Gottschalk's music too well. So my interest began when I was thinking about early developments in American music, and it kind of led me to Gottschalk, and he was kind of the first American composer pianist to gain international recognition. And just kind of listening to his pieces, you notice the incredibly diverse influences he's had, in his pieces, and he himself was also biracial. And I was kind of interested in his influences, especially in Latin America and Latin American composers, and kind of wanted to dig a little bit deeper into where they came from, who his influences were, where did he travel to, and kind of do kind of an interactive web-based research on all of that. Just kind of see where he went, who his influences were. And there are so many Latin American composers at that time in the 19th century that we don't hear about, and he borrowed a ton of materials, and so I wanted to see where all that came from, and the research is kind of in its big initial stages, and so I'm kind of trying to figure out funding. It will be, if it's going to be a web-based thing, it's going to need some funding to put that together. So I'm kind of in the early stages of all of that, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, and I'm getting to find out a little bit more about that time period in in early music in America. So it's been interesting. It's been fun to explore,
Yeah.
and so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely already sound intriguing. A web-based interactive kind of resource center for Gottschalk's music. Yeah. You were mentioning that you like new things. So I know Atlantic Music Festival is one of the most central focuses new music, right? So is that how the festival started? You wanted a festival that kind of will give new composers a chance to premiere their work and have their works played. Is that how the festival started?
Well, the festival started primarily as a vehicle for young composers to be able to study with with composer faculty, established composer faculty, to get instructions, to have their pieces played, um, recorded, and the piano component was added to kind of help with that, so that the pianist could have the opportunity to work with new compositions. And then we added the kind of the more of the traditional side to getting instructions from established professors, from conservatories, and it grew and grew, and a lot of different components were added. But it does really center around this idea that there are a lot of festivals out there that are traditionally, you get your lessons, master classes, some performances and competitions, and we have all of that. But the focus we wanted was a new music component to it, where students have access to various seminars given by the composers, some interactive things such as Future Music Lab, where you are actually working with tools other than not traditional tools to make music, um, and and all of that. So that's kind of been the focus, and to branch off, we have had uh, traditional offerings as well. So it's been growing, and it's been a really still growing, and more room to grow and to improve and all of that. But yeah, that's kind of been the the mission of the festival.
Yeah, I definitely had the impression that the festival is more kind of interactive between different instruments and then different performers and composers. Like there's a very healthy atmosphere at the festival.
Right. Yeah, I think so. I think the fact that there are many different areas of the festival, and that we're able to collaborate on projects and to work together, composition, working with piano, with opera, and orchestra, and so on. It's been very healthy, and and obviously students that come to participate really enjoy that aspect as well.
Yeah. On top of all of that, you're also teaching two jobs, one at the Providence College and one at the Brown University. So either of those schools are conservatories. So what are your teaching responsibilities like? Do you have to invent some classes or mostly studio teaching?
So at Brown, it is primarily coaching chamber music and applied piano lesson teaching. Um, at Providence College, it's a little bit more diverse. I am able to develop curriculum studies. It is a liberal arts college, so we're encouraged to come up with interdisciplinary studies. Um, but my current load is piano lessons. I do work with string orchestra,
Mm.
um, and I teach theory sometimes, depending on 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 certain years. So so more variety of teaching, classwork teaching plus applied lessons. So yeah, they both have some similar qualities, similar types of teaching, but different as well.
Do you find it difficult to balance teaching with all the other things and performance that you're doing throughout the year?
Absolutely, it is difficult. Um, I think teaching does take a lot out of you, and I'm
Yeah,
sure you teach and
yeah,
perform as well, and so it's hard to make time to practice and perform. I mean, in order to provide good performances, you have to practice. It's inevitable,
mm,
and you make the time, and it's challenging for every musician, I think.
mm,
You
yeah,
just do what you can. You do what you have to do. Make
yeah,
time.
yeah.
So it is hard. Yeah, absolutely.
You graduated from the best school possible, Juilliard and Eastman School. Do you have any advice that you could give young professionals who are entering the profession right now? Something that you wish you could have learned back in music school? Something that would have prepared you better for a professional career?
Um, I mean, yeah. I think, as a pianist, maybe I'm sure maybe you've experienced this, but I spent way too much time in the practice room. And this is a little bit
That's true.
of a contradiction to what I said earlier about needing to practice for performances. But I I, I wish that I got myself out there a little more, engaged with the community, engaged more with the school, more with other departments, composers, singers, um, rather than practice, whatever. It's just good to, when it comes down to it, I think this profession is about, of course, your ability as a pianist or
Mhm.
whatever, but the relationships that you form
Yeah.
and the interest that you show about what others are doing, genuinely passionate about what others are doing, and collaborating perhaps on projects. I think that is really the fun part of music making,
Yeah.
and I wish that I've done more of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that. But it is hard being in a conservatory, and you hear piano all around us, piano playing and practicing, and it's hard. But uh, I wish that a lot of students would take that to heart when they're in their bachelor's degrees, that they go out and go see an opera and make time to hear other performers play, and
Hmm.
and make relationships. I think that's probably the most important thing that you can do at a young age.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It seems to me that with our kind of background, every person should start thinking about how to collaborate with other people and become a more versatile musician.
Right.
And you're not just someone who practices 8 hours a day. Yeah,
True. True.
definitely. Well, thank you so much for talking with me, and definitely very inspiring to hear all of your identities, different identities as a musician. And thank you for your time, and I hope to see your upcoming project very soon.
Well, thank you. And I know you're heading over to New Orleans pretty soon,
Yeah.
in a new position at
Yes.
Loyola University.
Yeah.
And so that's wonderful. And the best of luck to you. It'll be, I'm sure, a wealth of wonderful experience you'll have out there.
Thank you so much.